Throughout history, people have clung to the possibility that the high priests of the temple had the foresight to hide the ark somewhere under the mount, sometime after its last mention in the Old Testament, and before the burning of Jerusalem 30 years later in 587 BC by the Babylonian invaders. But where could they have hidden it? As Richard Andrews points out, a glowing, sparking, temperamental ark would be tough to hide.
So let's suppose for a minute that the ark, before the Babylonian destruction, was hidden. Where could it have gone to? To move the ark from the original Holy of Holies and not be seen, there must have been a tunnel to go from the Holy of Holies underground. So my theory, and my honest opinion, is that the ark, if it still exists, would be somewhere inside the Temple Mount.
But the Knights Templar, religious zealots, bumbling amateurs, legitimate archaeologists all have excavated under and around the mount, many with obsessive zeal. All have led nowhere, except into the complicated water system under the city. And with the mount under the control of the Muslim authorities, as it has been for 13 centuries, it's unlikely further excavations will be allowed, not least because of Jewish fundamentalist plans for the mount. Here is where science and faith part ways, with apocalyptic repercussions.
The ark now has a potential not to hurt anybody who might touch it, but the concept of the ark has the potential to explode the whole situation, the whole of the Middle East.
He's expecting from his people, Israel, to build his house. 2,000 years he waited. He has no more patience.
Gershon Solomon, founder of the Messianic Temple Mount Faithful group, eagerly awaits the return of the Ark of the Covenant and the events it will herald, the rebuilding of the temple on its original site and the subsequent coming of the Messiah. The fact that this would require the destruction of the magnificent Muslim Dome of the Rock bothers him not at all. In keeping with God's will, he and his compatriots are preparing to recreate the temple and its contents down to the last candle.
We prepare vessels, we prepare the architectural plans for the temple. We want to be ready because we know that God is ready. We know that time is short.
Gershon Solomon even has the cornerstones prepared for the third temple. What he doesn't have?
The Ark of Covenant, waiting for us underneath the Temple Mount.
According to Solomon, the finding of the Ark will bring on the arrival of the Messiah. And as for the Muslims and their Dome of the Rock?
The Dome of the Rock and the mosque, they should be removed from the Temple Mount. How it will be done? A government of faith in Israel, of vision, which is soon to come, will take the mosque and the Dome of the Rock, locate them in a huge envelope and mail them back to Mecca from where they were brought.
So much for world peace. According to some experts, the destruction of the Dome of the Rock is the most likely candidate to cause World War III. All this because of an object that scholars still can't agree actually existed or not.
I believe the Ark of the Covenant was a real object because the book of Exodus takes a great effort to give us the dimensions, how it was to be constructed. It was to be made of a particular kind of wood, acacia wood. It was to be covered with gold foil. So it seems to be describing something very genuine, not something that was just an abstraction. It was a real object.
There is no physical evidence today that the Ark ever existed. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, to which you can point and say, see, look, the Ark existed.